Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to Candid Convos. I am your host, Nadia Mansour. Thank you for coming here and joining us. I have a lovely guest, Sakina, here to discuss selecting a career choice that perhaps your parents and family may not be supportive of, and how to navigate the situation and how to go about it. So I welcome Sakina. How are you?
I'm good. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Nadia?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. So let's dive right into this topic. I know that beforehand we were kind of discussing how this topic affects us, and you mentioned that your parents are really supportive, but that you've experienced your friends going through this. Um, So, having seen that, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've seen um, this impact your friends and how they go about choosing their career?
Even not just my friends, I even hear stories about other people. Like this one story, like it really caught my attention. I feel like this happens more, not just this one time, but like when a lot of parents want their kids to become a doctor, I think, and but you can't really become a doctor if you don't truly want to become one, you know? So like there's this one doctor who overlooked this one patient's cancer, and that patient died right after because the doctor wasn't careful enough. And like when you think about it, that doctor probably didn't actually want to be a doctor. They were maybe their parents told them to be one, and that's why they became one. And on the other hand, if a person actually wants to become a doctor, then they'll like carefully take a look at their patients and actually care about what they're doing, and it'll have a better impact on everyone. And also with my friends, like their parents, I know they're kind of strict with them, and they tell them what to become and what they should like go into in the future for universities and stuff. And they usually just go along with it. They've never really disagreed with anything they've said. But I just think like, wow, if my parents were like that, I wouldn't have liked it that much. But at the same time, I'm really flexible, so I don't really mind like going into any field, I guess, because I'm still kind of choosing. I don't have anything in mind right now. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely relate to you saying like the kind of passion and the kind of care that will come out of a career when you know that you love it and your heart is in it. It's very, very different. I would like to say this, which is that like everything is hard. Every career is hard. It's what makes it easier is your own skill set, your own personal strengths, but also your willingness to want to achieve that end goal, right? Like, um, no matter what you do, like a university course is a university course, and a professor is, like, yeah, there might be some easier professors here and there, but honestly, like, if your heart's not in it, it's gonna make it so much harder. Like I definitely heard stories as well. Where I come from, it's like a smaller net Muslim community where if you're not a doctor, then you're not as successful, or you're not given the same kind of praise, or um, there's a difference in treatment. There's a difference in the way the community perceives you, because it's like it's the be all end all for some reason. And I think that's a very tragic thing for a lot of people growing up, where the career options and are endless, right? There's so many different things you can do, and I would say that this definitely affected me. Coming from, like I said, my community, where being a doctor or a dentist, something to do with science and medicine, is
Yeah.
very like upheld. And me personally wanting to do something a little more, not that, which I would love to pursue a a journalism as my career. So obviously that's very different and also a lot riskier, and you make less money and all these things, and you're put in dangerous situations, and there's a lot of misconception around what being a journalist means. So I definitely feel like this topic in general has definitely like affected me growing up, because I felt like I had to conform to, like, you know, my parents and what my parents expected of me, which was um, definitely not this route. Like I definitely had to have like a lot of conversations with my parents and be like, this is where my skill set is. You know, I'm people oriented. I love, you know, getting on the news stories. I love photography, you know, all these kinds of skills that I'm learning. And it disheartens me because I feel like there's so many people out there who can't even have this conversation, right? Like it's like I have been blessed, alhamdulillah, to be able to engage in this conversation and be like, this is my past, my career, but I know that there's a lot of people out there who this is a whole nother level for them. Like it's it's it could even come down to parents saying like, we don't even want to talk to you anymore. Like you can do whatever career you want. We're not going to talk to you anymore. Which is obviously an extreme case, but it definitely happens. So like, let's say somebody's in that kind of situation where they can't even begin to have like a conversation with their parents. What is something that you would kind of like advise for that person?
I feel like you should still try to get them to listen to you, and if they don't, then if I mean, I guess if they're not like willing to talk to you, then that just means they don't really care about what you do. And I guess just do whatever you want them. Like if they truly like don't want to listen to you, then I guess that's just a way of them saying like do whatever you want. But as I feel like as long as you know what you're doing is right and it's permissible and like it'll make Allah happy and other people, then there's nothing really stopping you then.
Mm-hmm.
Before thinking
So
of a
true.
career choice, you should always think of Allah first, then your parents, and then yourself maybe, because like at the end of the day, you're only you have to please Allah, not yourself or your parents. He's like one person you have to actually like do everything for. So
Yeah, I definitely completely agree with what you're
I think that's
saying.
something to keep in mind that a lot of us forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is number one, you know, like pleasing him, like at the end of the day, on the day of judgment. Yes, you know, the relationships and the people that were around us will perhaps like affect the judgment that we receive, but it's us alone, right? Us alone on the day of judgment, standing before God, standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and being held accountable for our own deeds. So definitely, like, number one thing is think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even then, you know, even Muslim parents could be at fault at, like, the career might not even be medicine, it could be something else, and Muslim parents could be at fault for pushing their kids towards a career that may not even be permissible. So in that regard, of course, um, you know, it's not a sin to disobey your parents if they're pushing you towards something that you know is not permissible in Islam, or that they're pushing you towards something you don't even want to do and you want to pursue whatever you want to do. It's not haram to disobey them. Like, that's something that I want to make very clear for anybody who watches this. It's not haram, but it doesn't mean that you can just sever ties with your family, act like they don't exist, completely disregard them. Maybe it means taking a bit of space. Maybe it means doing your career, delving in it, and then coming back and saying, look what I've done. Look how hard I've worked. Look how much my hard work is paying off. Like, this is a suitable career. Show them. Sometimes it's not even about telling them, you know, when you can't get through to them and you can't have that conversation, don't just tell them. Show them. Show them what you can do and the person that you can be within this career. Because at the end of the day, I feel like parents just want, you know, the best for you, right? And sometimes that comes from a place that it's hard for us to understand. Like, you're limiting me from being who I want to be, but you also want the best for me. You know, it can get a little conflicting, especially, you know, growing up. And trying out different things and seeing people around you go after the careers that they want, and you simply can't because your parents may be in the way of that. So definitely, I would say that if you're in a very, very complicated situation, find a way to be able to show your parents like what you can accomplish, instead of just telling them what you want to do.
Yeah,
Would
I
you
also
agree?
wanted to mention another thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
so let's just say your parents do have a conversation with you about this and they are willing to listen, but they still disagree. Like, they might have a really good reason because, like, sometimes we forget that our parents have lives and they have a career too. They know much more than us and they have way more experience too. So they could have some really good reasons to why they are so supportive of your career choice. So you should always listen to them first, like actually carefully think about their reasoning because they might be saying something right and you might not be realizing it, which could affect your future and yourself. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, um, even us as we're growing up, like even maybe our judgment is clouded. Like we think something is good for us and it's perfect and it's awesome, and our parents, yeah, like you're right. Like they're older than us. They've seen the world. They have careers. They've gone through things. They definitely understand the world in a different way than we do,
And
and that
it
we
could
perceive.
also be a career that's like good for other people, but it might not be suitable for you. And they would know that if it's not suitable for you, and they could help you out. So
Yeah, because they've been around you and they
yeah,
just know. They just know you
yeah,
right
they
better.
know.
Um, I think it's just really important to clarify that, like, when you're choosing your career, and you're not, you shouldn't have the intention that, like, oh, like, I'm choosing this other career because I hate my parents and I want to go against them and I want to go and I just want to defy my parents. And because
Yeah,
then that's the wrong intention. It's in Islam, there's so much emphasis on what your intention truly is.
and you can't only
So,
think about yourself either, because that's just selfish. And you shouldn't just think about yourself when choosing a career. Like think about everyone. Think about how it's going to be helping your community, how yourself, your family, and how it'll be, how it'll help you become a better Muslim too.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like the impact that you have, like there's so much sadaqah, jariyah, there's so much just reward in doing good and striving for a career in which you can help other people and be of service to other people. So for sure, definitely thinking about the external factors of a career and how this career can not only help you in this world, but in the afterlife. And
Yeah.
if that means that your parents might not be on board, then make sure that that relationship is there, and make sure that you're still respecting them, that you're still treating them properly, that um, they still are a factor in your life. And if possible, like find that middle ground with your parents. Like I mentioned before, like whether you're able to have that conversation with them or not, uh, maintain that relationship, because there's nobody in the world like your parents, essentially, really.
Yeah, your career isn't everything. You shouldn't base your entire life around your career. Your parents are way more important than that, and if you don't have a good relationship with them, then that's a bigger problem than not having the career of your choice.
Certainly, yeah. Working on maintaining an honest relationship and an open relationship, with your parents about what you want to do, where you want to go in life. Yeah, certainly for those who don't necessarily have that opportunity. Again, like it's not haram. You're not, going into sin when you're disagreeing with parents. Likewise, we disagree with a lot of people in our lives, but even when we disagree, it's about maintaining that boundary, maintaining that respect. All right, that's like most important.
Yeah. Especially as Muslims, we shouldn't disobey our parents. Even when we do, you should still like have a lot of respect for them and treat them right, and like just don't distance yourself from them or anything. I mean, you can, but like not too much, and like still look out for them, and just keep a good stable relationship. Because
Yeah.
even if your career might not always be there for you, but your parents still will.
Yeah, for sure. That's such an important factor. You know, like family is really forever, and everything else just fluctuates. Even friends, whatever it may be. Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up, the conversation.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you so much, Sakina, for
Thank you
joining
for
me.
having me here.
Yeah, for a little candid convos about this
Yeah.
issue. Um, yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Yeah, take care.
Me too.
Yeah,
Assalamualaikum.
alaikum assalam. And that wraps up another episode of Candid Convos. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on our social media at My Voice Canada on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also check out our website, myvoicecanada.com, to check out what we're up to, get engaged, and even come and join the work that My Voice Canada is doing. That's all for now. Take care and assalamu alaikum.